I grew up in San Diego, California, really close to the beach, so I grew up like surfing, spending a bunch of time at the beach. Later on, I got like really into rock climbing because there's also a lot of good stuff in California for rock climbing and like whitewater rafting and whitewater kayaking, which were things that I was really big into when I was younger. Yeah, so I think I spent a lot of time outdoors as a kid because my parents were really positive about that. But I also like loved gaming. I always, was a gamer. I always wanted to play, so I was sort of caught between two worlds in a sense. But I think it worked out pretty well. I have a nice balance in my life now. Prior to the Houston Outlaws, my only team of note would be formerly Bird Noises, formerly Hammers Esports, and then eventually, finally, LG Evil. We stayed together with essentially the same roster the whole time. Had a ton of fun with those guys. Wouldn't trade it for the world, my time with that team. I think we had like a really, really good thing there. Even though, we had mixed success, we had times when we were on top and times when we, struggled to regain it and did successfully like regain status. So I really I felt like I kind of went the full roller coaster with that team. It really made me a better player. I learned a lot from my teammates there. Every one of them, I think, taught me a lot of important things about being a teammate, about playing the game, about different characters. I feel like we all like really learned and grew a lot together on that team, and I really hope to see a lot of my former teammates there in the Overwatch League coming seasons. I got into gaming pretty young, like as young as I can remember, just playing with my brother. We were super competitive with each other, so we would play any game would sort of become competitive. We were just trying to like, compete with one another as brothers do. That's where I sort of really learned to love games, just spending time with my brother, playing after school and late into the night and everything. So that was where I like really came to enjoy gaming and got big into it. Only in like later in like high school and then when my brother went to college, I got like more into PC gaming. I got like more serious and competitive about gaming. My first video game, I want to say it was the original Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation, like the original PlayStation. Crash Bandicoot was definitely like my first serious experience with gaming. First like really liking a genre and playing all the Crash Bandicoot games through all the PlayStation iterations when I was a kid. Then got into like obviously like Call of Duty and all sorts of stuff, like every honestly all the games on the console. But yeah, it all started with Crash Bandicoot for sure. The first game that I like really liked and I wanted to just play a ton of, like in the way like a multiplayer game where you can just keep playing forever and there's no like real end, was probably Killzone 2. Killzone 2 was definitely like the first game that I really wanted to be good at and like I really, really liked playing. And it was also like class-based, which I think is interesting. Like every game that I really liked playing on console or PC was always like a class-based shooter where you could sort of pick your character and then use their different strengths and weaknesses to be effective in the battlefield. My brother like never got into PC gaming, so when I really stopped playing consoles, we just never really played together again, except like occasionally I would go play consoles with him, but he definitely never got into PC gaming. And neither of my parents like has ever touched a video game, I think, in their lives. I think from my parents' perspective, it was just like a waste of time. But once they saw that there was like a potential for a career in the future, then they were really supportive and really turned around about it. I always like was very careful to like do all my other responsibilities first, I guess, or like make sure that they always got done, like with school and work or whatever I had to do, again, especially in high school and college. My parents were like always really aggressive about that. They were kind of like okay with gaming, but as long as I wasn't like slacking on school or anything. So school always came first, I think. Once I went to college, it kind of turned the other way, where I was like probably prioritizing practice over school, but just like getting by in school, like making sure I was not flunking out, make sure I was like sort of getting everything done that I needed to get done. But I always had kind of an easy time with it. Like I was just kind of like naturally good at like managing my time and still scheduling a lot of time to practice and play the game. So I don't think time management was ever like too hard for me, but at the same time, like probably the worst of it was in college when I was like carrying a full course load in college and also trying to play like 6 to 8 hours a day of Overwatch. That was like by far the worst time in my like gaming career. But it was also like I knew it was what I had to do to make the Overwatch League, so it's all worth it for sure. The first game that I got really competitive in was Team Fortress 2 on the PC. Just like the first game I actually started competing in leagues, playing for money, playing in ESEA. I think that was definitely like where it really got serious for me, where the game wasn't just multiplayer, but also I was like in it to win it very seriously. I was like practicing, doing things just to get better at the game, really trying to like do everything I could to improve. And I think that was like the beginning of competitive video games for me in a serious way. Most of my friends were like still was playing console games. Like no one really had a PC that I think that I knew. So I just kind of went it alone. Like I knew I really liked the game, but pretty quickly I think I made a lot of like new friends online through TF2, and some of those people I'm still friends with today. So that was definitely a cool thing about TF2, that it had such a great community that like, obviously like other communities, like obviously there's some people who are jerks, but the majority of the community I think was like much nicer than people might expect for a video gaming community. Probably my favorite team to ever compete on was a team called Meat Market. We just had a lot of fun, like a lot of like really good players, but we really like enjoyed playing the game, and then that also really got me more interested in like the strategic aspect of the game, because it was one of the first teams that I played on where there was like really intense focus on like strategy and teamwork, as opposed to sort of everyone just going off doing their own thing. For us, like for me, like Meat Market was big in terms of like making me more competitive, more interested in like strategy and teamwork and stuff. So that was probably the huge one for me. I ended up playing in Invite, but I don't think it was like, I felt like that was not really the notable experience. Like in Intermediate was actually where I think I really got more competitive. I got into Overwatch the first day the game came out. I knew I wanted to play because I knew it had like potential for esports, and I wanted to like at least check it out. So I pre-ordered the game like as soon as they opened the pre-order, but I still never got into the beta or anything. So I just played on release basically. For like the first week after it released, I was at home and it was like great. I was just playing on my PC. And then after that first week, I actually was going to the Netherlands to study abroad. So for that summer, I was studying abroad in Amsterdam, and I was playing on a MacBook Pro because I still liked the game. I really liked the game. Like as soon as I started playing, I was like, oh man, this is great. This is everything that I had hoped for. And I actually ended up getting top 500 the first season of competitive in Europe on a MacBook, and I was like, well, if I can do that on a MacBook Pro, then I want to play this game on a real computer and see what I can do. So I think I always had kind of like a chip on my shoulder of wanting to prove myself, first because I wasn't in the beta, and all the beta players had like such an advantage, and then after that because I was like, even for the first season I was in EU, so I couldn't really compete or play with a team or anything. It was just really, I was super psyched to like just play the game. Like I knew it was exactly what I wanted to be doing, exactly where I wanted to compete. So I think it was just like a matter of overcoming obstacles on the way. To be in the first season of Overwatch League is kind of like the culmination of everything that I've worked for. It's like exactly, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. As soon as it was announced, I was like, yeah, well that's the place to be. Like that's where the toughest competition is going to be. That's where you get to compete against the best in the world. That's the only thing I want. So as soon as I knew that was it, I kind of made that my only focus. I was like, this is it. I'm just going to make the Overwatch League. I'm going to do everything and like work harder than everyone else until I can catch up and be that good and compete with the best of the best and eventually become the best of the best. So I think for me, getting into the Overwatch League is like kind of, in some ways it's the end of a journey, but in other ways it's the beginning of a new journey, because I just feel like now that I'm here, it's time to fully focus. It's time, there's no more distractions, there's no more excuses, there's no more complaints. All it is me in the game, and I think with the team we have, like I'm really, really excited to just keep working really hard, keep practicing really hard, and do the very best we can for Houston and for the Outlaws. So what's up next in our practice is really just continuing to refine and get used to each other's play styles. I think right now we still feel like we come from different teams because we're so new and we haven't played together for very long. But even in the first few days of practice, I feel like we're making really, really huge strides towards like meshing as a team and really, getting that kind of synergy that you need to play at the highest level. So I think what I'm looking forward to is just more weeks of just keep iterating. Let's work on our strategies. Let's work on our synergy, work on our teamwork, work on our individual play. I'm just really excited to get practicing and get working. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Jake for the Houston Outlaws. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you get the notifications. We're going to be posting a lot of content on this channel, so I hope you stay with us.